you've gone down this incredible journey now to the point where you took a big leap and you said, okay, well, in the beginning of our conversations, it was, well, how can I do both? Right? How can I
Yeah.
buy my primary residence in Jacksonville right now and buy this rental property, which can produce rental income? And then you just took another leap, which when you and I were preparing for the show last week, I didn't even realize. Now you've taken the leap because of really this kind of this environment you've surrounded yourself with to say, hey, you know what? This isn't the right time for me to be able to buy my primary residence. If I take this capital I have right now, buy rental properties with it right now, produce this income, how much greater will my ability to be able to do that primary residence be when I have that solid financial footing and passive income coming? So that's an incredible journey. I hope everybody who's on the show, you know, take this opportunity to ask some questions about that, because that's just not natural. I mean, can you talk through people through really, I mean, how did that conversation go with Marta? Right. I mean, that's not normal. Marta hasn't been a part of this show. So like, how's this going with you within your family? Why does it make so much sense to everybody around you now?
Greg, as you know, I am by profession a marketer. By nature, I'm a relationship builder and the believer of having a network around you and the benefits of all of that. And to me, this is a exemplary story in that, right? Like, if you remember, my first idea was, man, I got this old 401k that has like 120 grand. Why don't I just use that? I wanted, number one, as a hype man, as a natural promoter, I wanted to get in the game, right? Like I felt a genuine disconnect between, I don't know if it's a disconnect or just FOMO, right? Like I saw everybody doing really, really well that had put money with you guys, that had these rental income properties. And I wanted in, just because if you surround yourself with enough people doing something that's working for them, you're naturally gonna want to take a part of it, especially a guy like myself, right? So at first I was thinking, man, maybe I can do it with my IRA. You kind of broke it down to me in the sense that you could do that, but then you could go sideways if you don't have enough in reserve there to just make sure that it all stays there and you can't just commingle funds, right? So that went away. And then when I started kind of doing the math of, all right, I can have like a $15,000 rainy day fund, I can have down payment for a house, and I can have this like down payment for a JWB rental, turnkey rental income property. At that point, I really, really wanted to make it happen. And I kept on, I was looking at that math, and it all made sense. And it was really Marta who just said to me, she's like, listen, I don't see why we need to go get a $250,000 house if, when again, Alex has been sending me these listings, right? Like, you guys are doing me the favor of sending me the property listings of things that are available, right? We took a really good look at the market, and it became very obvious to us that in this echelon of 200 to 250,000 is like one type of house that's good enough. And then in the next echelon up, there's this house that like I'd be super pumped to live in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Marta doesn't come from the US. She's not obsessed with this whole like home ownership is the only way to do it, right? Like
Right.
I had a great benefit of her outside perspective, and thanks to her perspective, and then what I've learned here, I was like, okay, then at that point I was educated enough to be like, then in that case, I think the move is, let's just stack some more acorns on, like let's keep that money there and grow it. And as my company does better, as you do better in your company, which by the way, I think I'm poised for a great 2021. So it could be as soon as 6 months to a year to be there financially. But either way, this asset, what we are buying right now, I've just really grown to understand it as an ATM machine, man. Like, and why wouldn't I want it, right? Like, understanding the model where you have taken so many data points and you have so much experience that you have this like really, really high level of certainty of what this certain cash flow is going to be for at least 2 years, because I know that my tenant is there for 2 years and it's already rented and it's going to be taken care of. And all I have to worry about is, you know, when the next turn is going to happen. And there's a 75% chance that that turn's not going to be for another 5 years. it just makes perfect sense to just stack $250 a month up until that happens, while owning this home that is getting paid down. That I, I don't explain it as well as you do, Greg, but like I've just heard it so many times, and I've seen it with my own eyes because of the seat that I have the good fortune to sit in, that I now just take it as a truth, to be perfectly honest.
I
So
think
yeah, again, we were talking before this call, and my insecurity is that you're going to ask me a couple of things. I'm going to be like, well, they're going to be like, Pablo's an unsophisticated investor. He's just throwing money to the wind. And maybe it sounds like that, but I think the other side of it is just the idea that I have seen behind the curtain here, and like there's nothing about you and your partners and the organization you've built and the business model that you've created, and this and the process that you go through, that doesn't make 100% sense to me. And I feel like I would be a sucker if I didn't get in on it. Like,
I mean, I think you are speaking really for most of the people that are watching this show right now, most of our clients as well, right? I mean, very few of our clients would go to a party and introduce themselves as a real estate investor, right? You're not going to go to a party and introduce yourself as a real estate investor, right? They want to have real estate in their portfolio, and they don't want to know all of the details that we happen to know and do all the due diligence that we happen to know on an individual neighborhood and metrics and all this good stuff. They want to do their due diligence on the model and the team. That's what you're buying into. It's
100%.
incredible. I appreciate you sharing that, because I think a lot of people think that you have to be an expert to do well in this. You don't have to be an expert. You have to find the right team of experts. You have to do your due diligence, make sure that they know what they're doing, and then you can leverage their experience, leverage their model, leverage their systems, so that you can enjoy it too, right? We were just talking about this before the show, and we were doing a separate marketing video for one of these ad campaigns that we're going to do. And you were saying to me, hey, listen, what bothers you so much that you need to speak out? And I'm just like, man, people think that this has to be hard. People in their mind think that owning real estate has to be hard. And it's proven, because if you ask people out there what the long-term best investment for them is, according to a Gallup poll, people say that the best investment is real estate. But if you ask those same people, what do they have in their portfolio? It's like the fifth most popular option behind like bonds and savings accounts and, of course, stocks and everything else. And it just doesn't make sense. Like, what bothers me is that people's actions when it comes to this investment don't line up with their beliefs. And if I can just show them a way that it's easy, then their actions and their beliefs are going to line up. They're probably going to be a lot more successful than what they were doing.